The following is a special presentation of Extreme eSpeed TV, your new home for everything iRacing and eSpeed.
Yeah, me too. And as a dirt guy, this is a track that you can almost get up and run a cushion and get up high and run up against the wall. So this is going to be a fun track to watch because you can be really fast high, you can be fast in the middle, you can be really fast low. This is going to present a challenge for guys to be aware of what's going around them just because they have so many options. And you know, the tires were off. Some of the things that they're doing, they're really going to have to change their approach inside the car as the night wears on.
And all season long, we've seen pit strategy come into play. We've seen gas mileage racing. We've seen those strategies really play out, and I expect nothing else here tonight at Kansas. I know you were talking to some of the teams before practice today, and you got some insights into pit strategy for us?
I did. I was told that you might see somebody stretch it as far as 43 laps, 42, 43 laps, 37 the other end of the spectrum. And well, we've seen this all year. Guys are pitting lap 32, 28 because the tire fall off, and that's what we really need to look for is if at the beginning of a run, if somebody is 2 seconds faster than somebody on the track, that brings the undercut into play, and you may see guys pit 5-6 laps before the rest of the field, hope they don't catch a caution, and all of a sudden when the cycle's through, be 5-6 seconds out in front of everybody else. And this is a trend we've seen all year. Long green flag run to start the race, the middle of it, might see a caution or two and get a good run to the end. So, again, anything can happen, and, man, I can't wait to see this.
So we've got qualifying out there right now. Brian Mescal Jr. shot to the top of the charts. Jimmy Hedrick second. Brian Littleton, our points leader and last week's winner at Michigan, currently sitting fourth now as Gordon Larson Jr. shoots to number 2. We've seen a lot of players cycle through each race, John. I'm expecting we'll have some of the same players up towards the front today. But like we've said, the strategy and the other cars, it's really 1 through 40 are able to claim a victory. And I expect to see some different names up towards the top of the list as we go through tonight.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, we've only had one repeat winner all year, I believe, and that's a Baker there, and everybody else has snatched a win. And this is such a competitive series. I wouldn't be surprised to see that trend continue. Get another first-time winner. We're at 1.5 miles, and things happen quickly at these kind of tracks, and they do put out surprise winners from time to time.
So we're watching qualifying. We've got 17 cars with laps completed, now 18. As it's Trey Radford, Lance Yancey, and Brian Littleton, your top 3 now. Looking at the point standings, Brian Littleton has the points lead. He's up 24 points on our Auto Club winner, Roy Hyde. Steve Baker, who has 2 wins, sits third. Travis Smith, our winner from Las Vegas, fourth. And Brian Mescal Jr. currently sits fifth. He was our Daytona winner to kick off the year. So as we look to the race tonight, John, what do you expect to see from the top to the bottom? Where will you be able to run? Where will it be faster? And how do you think it will change throughout the evening?
Well, I think the big change is going to be the tires when they give up. If you're on the bottom 2 lanes, coming out of turn 2, that the nose is going to want to shove a lot more, and you're going to have to really work the throttle a little bit more, which means that top, maybe towards the end of a run, might be a little better because you can open it up a little early. You don't have to put as much wheel into it to turn. The same thing about going over in 3 and 4. I know the corners almost look identical here, but for some reason, 3 and 4, especially if you're up on the wall, is a little more tricky to keep it out of the wall. So I think that's going to be a challenge. Both ends are going to be a challenge with for these guys tonight.
So as we head to Kansas Speedway, the track opened in 2001. It's a mile and a half. So tonight we'll run 100 laps, and tonight's the Lucky Finn Project 100. That'll equal to 150 miles. Turns are banked progressively, 17 to 20 degrees. That front stretch also progressive, 9 to 11, and that back stretch relatively flat, John, with 5 degrees of banking. Through your racing history, what have you collected after making runs around this mile and a half track?
The big thing, like I said, the tire fall off. Once they kind of fall off, you've got to adjust where you're picking the throttle up in the corners, and you really do have to be massively patient here. The cars are so close in speed. We can see that right now in the qualifying times. You've got to really work a guy over. If you push an issue too early, it's real easy to get into trouble here. If you get over aggressive, it's just easy to wash up into somebody if you get below them, or if you go above them or try to out drive them into the corner, washing up the track and clobbering the wall. So this is a track, even though it's fast and you have options, you really have to be patient on.
So currently you're qualifying fastest, going for the Linda Haney Memorial Pole Award trophy. Troy Radford won. Dale Osmond, our birthday boy, P2 currently. Lance Yancey third. Brandon Medford fourth. And Brian Littleton fifth. The Lucky Finn Project, our presenting sponsor tonight, contributed by Ray Radford, creates a support network for parents across the world, links parents to medical information and resources, and provides education on limb differences. You can visit luckyfinnproject.org to learn more and find out how you can support as well.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that fifth place qualifier right now, Brian Littleton. I don't know anybody that has a bigger mojo coming into this race. He's our point leader. Oh, and by the way, he won the last time we were on track. So that's a lot of momentum to carry into the next round.
We've seen some spurts early in the season. We really, thinking of guys that we talked about a lot, Hunter Tate was up front quite a bit. Brandon Medford has been up front. Dale Osmond's had great runs as well. Dustin Payne currently sixth. He won at Phoenix. So, like we talked about, 1 through tonight, it looks like 27. Any of them are going to have an opportunity to really get up there and race. And it wouldn't surprise me if any of these guys came home with a victory tonight.
No, it wouldn't me either. Like I said, this has been such an incredibly hard fought, every position hard fought through the field. Every one of these guys are pretty close in skill and speed and everything else here. So, you get the pit strategy right, you get a caution timed right. All of a sudden, if you're, having a 10th place night, you can get thrust out front in that clean air and off you go to the win.
So it looks like we've got 4 guys still waiting to make their run. We've got less than 3 minutes here. So we'll see if they get out there. Like we said, Troy Radford currently P1, Dale Osmond 2, Lance Yancey 3rd, Brandon Medford 4th, and Brian Littleton 5th there. Anyone jump out either a surprise up front or a surprise slower lap than what you would have expected, John?
Yeah, Nathan Bishop. We usually see him. He's right now P19, but we usually see him up towards the front during these races. Same thing with Mitchell Snare. He's a former race winner this season, back in 14th. And on the other side of that, you see some guys like a Lance Yancey and a Troy Radford. Those are close to top 10 drivers, so not a complete surprise. But to be up on top of the board and being third has got to be at least a nice result for them.
One guy that stuck out to me while doing some research for tonight is currently 9th fastest, the number 11 of Chris Spencer. He's someone that we've talked about kind of sporadically throughout the year. I know he had a good run at Richmond. We talked about him a little bit at Michigan as well. He's currently running 9th in points as well. He's 73 points back of Brian Littleton. But really, once you get back, the top 4 are separated by 27 from first to fourth. And then once you go back, there's a little bit more distance, but you can definitely make some gains. And Chris Spencer is someone that just he's always there. He kind of runs that 5th to 15th and just runs real consistent week after week. And during a long season, that's what it's going to take to stay up towards the front, is minimizing those runs. I think back to, we had Roy Hyde win at Auto Club, and we talked to him before going to the Roval, and he just wanted to have a good finish and try to come out of there with the best finish possible. So as we go through some of these tracks, especially when I look ahead to like a Hickory or some of these really short tracks that we're going to go to, it's going to be survive and advance for some of these guys as well from a point standings.
Absolutely. And, speaking of Chris, I think the few times that we have seen him up front, bad luck has bitten him. So, as we go through this whole season, it's a long season. You just know that everybody is going to have bad luck along the way. And, try to get the good finishes when you can get them, control what you can control. And you're right. He's doing exactly what he needs to do to be set himself up for later in the season to maybe make a championship run.
So tonight we've got the Lucky Finn Project 100 as qualifying is about to come to a close. We're at Kansas Speedway, just over a mile and a half. Tonight it's 74 degrees. The lights are on, and then upcoming schedule you can see there. We'll be back next Sunday at Martinsville for some short track racing, off for the holidays, and then June's going to be busy with Texas, our Bristol Dirt All-Star event, and then we'll end June at Daytona as we head into the summer months. As it looks like qualifying is going to come to an end, and Troy Radford's going to be our Linda Haney Memorial Pole Award winner tonight, and someone we'll have to watch up front all night long, John.
Absolutely. These guys, Dale Osmond has always been quick everywhere where he seems to be. And I'll be honest, you look at the top, you got, five guys all separated by less than a tenth, but then look at that mid pack. Dustin Ping with a 31.10, and you're talking a tenth and a half all the way from sixth back to about 14th. So that's a lot of cars packed in a very short window.
So as they finish up qualifying, we will get to the starting grid here shortly, and then we will get this Lucky Finn Project 100 underway. John, do you want to kick us off and go through our starting lineup?
Sure. Started on the pole is going to be the 94 of Troy Radford. To his outside, yes, it's the birthday boy in the 88, Dale Osmond. Starting third is going to be the 77 of Lance Yancey. Next to him will be the 83 of Brian Mefford. Starting fifth is going to be Brian Littleton, and next to him will be the number 1 of Dustin Ping. In the next row will be Brian Snare and Roy Hyde. Starting in the fifth row, starting ninth, will be the 11 of Chris Spencer. Next to him will be our Daytona winner, Brian Miskell Jr. in the 33. Starting 11th will be the number 8 of Hunter Tate. Starting 12th will be Gordon Larson Jr. in the 01. Next row will be the 48 machine of Jimmy Hetrick. Next to him is going to be the 43 machine of Mitchell Snare. Starting 15th will be the number 66 of Chris Berg. And to his outside will be the number 6 of Eric Blount. Starting 17th tonight will be the number 4 of Mike Massengill, and next to him will be the 71 of Gary Ragland. Starting 19th tonight will be the 27 of Nathan Bishop. Starting 20th will be the 40 of Timothy Woodson. Starting 21st will be the 30 of Bobby Hetrick. Next to him is going to be the 9 of Travis Smith. Starting 23rd will be the 46 of Chris Medford. Next to him will be the 34 of Doug Wykowski. Starting 25th tonight will be the number 47 of Ray Radford. Next to him is going to be the 23 of Joshua Caudell. And rounding out the field tonight, it's going to be the number 22 of one Matt Kopp.
Our starting lineup, as always, presented by Zoey's Place for the Lucky Finn Project 100 here at Kansas Speedway. So they will make their way out onto the racing surface after getting lined up on pit road. Any predictions for tonight? Anyone you want to throw your name in as a projected winner tonight, John?
Oh, I do other broadcasts, and every time I seem to pick somebody, they wreck. So I'm going to pray that commentator's curse doesn't follow me over here. But, I'm going to have to just go with I'm going to go with the point leader and the guy that won the last race on the 2 mile there at Michigan. I'm going to say Brian Littleton, Mr. Where did he come from? I look to him to have a solid night. Then at the end, be there when it counts. How about you?
That's a good pick. I'm going to try to go a little bit deeper in the pack. I'm going to go with our 14th starting position, the number 43 of Mitchell Snare. I think just the way these tracks and these races cycle through with pit stops and gambles made throughout, I'm going to look at maybe some fuel mileage and something come in at the end that could surprise us as the pace car makes his way down pit road. It's going to be Radford and Osmond as they lead us to the green at Kansas. The Lucky Finn Project 100 is underway and green. Side by side as they go through 1 and 2, it's Osmond on the outside, Radford on the inside. Medford puts his nose in there well as the top 3 start to pull away as they're side by side down the backstretch.
Yeah, it looks like all 3 of them are going to move up to the high side there. I was out there ghosting with them a little bit earlier, and that seemed to be the place to be, is those top 2 lanes up there. It'll be interesting to see how long they stay up there, if they change anything different as the tires kind of wear in a little bit. But, man, you got a hornet's nest behind them from about 6th place on back.
Brian Littleton, your pick, he's fallen back to 6th as he's side by side with Snare. You've got Spencer, Hyde, Tate, and Mescal Jr. right behind him as there's contact between Ping and Yancey. It's going to be a wreck on the backstretch. Bring out our first caution of the night.
And it is the guy that I pick. I ain't picking anybody anymore in any broadcast.
The kiss of death from John.
It is. Man. My wife keeps asking why we've never won the lottery, and maybe it's because I buy the tickets from time to time. Wow, yeah, might have to send him a dude, I'm sorry note.
As our Willis Landscaping caution comes out, Ping Yancey got together, and then it collected the 45 and the 80 of Littleton there on the backstretch. Nowhere for them to go.
No, just really close racing there at the beginning. But I'll tell you, one thing that I'm going to be watching here as they come around pit road is anybody in the back top off fuel to maybe stretch the fuel out a little bit further to go a little deeper in the run. We'll have to see. So we haven't seen a caution. As I said, we haven't seen a caution this early in a long time.
So Osmond was able to get out in front as they made their first trip down the backstretch. Radford second, Medford third. Spencer up 5 spots to 4th. Really took advantage of that caution. And Hunter Tate as well up 6 spots to the top 5. As lots of movement through the field. I look back at Nathan Bishop as it does look like some guys have made it down pit road here to top off.
Yeah, I count 2, 4, 6, 8 of them, I think. 7 or 8 of them have come down, and that doesn't surprise me. A couple of them have damage, like Brian Snare. See a little smoke trailing out of the back of that 45 machine. But, yeah, I think it's a smart call. Put a little bit more go-go juice in it and see if you can get a little further on that run.
So the 88 of Osmond leads us down as we get going back. iRacing Pace Car still has the lights on, so we'll do at least one more lap around this 1.5 miles. What is that transition like here, John, once you come off of 2 and then have to get set straight headed down that backstretch?
Well, the track flattens out, but what the difficulty is you can actually pick the throttle up really early in the corner. Most tracks that you go to, you kind of want to roll through the center. Here, you can get back into the throttle and start, getting back into it, even maybe just a tad before the center of the corner if you choose to do so. But when you do that, early on, you got the tires under you that will allow you to get away with it, but you're going to wear them a little quicker doing it. But, as they do wear, all of a sudden you're really having to pedal it a lot, and that's where the challenge comes from because you're just carrying so much speed through these corners here.
So Osmond has led so far as we've got 4 laps complete. iRacing Pace Car has turned the lights off, so we will get lined back up and go back to green this time by. It's going to be Osmond, Radford, Medford, and Spencer, your top 4. And like we've seen early, it's been a few races, John, but earlier in the season when we saw early cautions, they would get settled back in and we'd go back to some long green flag runs. We'll see if that's the case here again tonight at Kansas.
Yeah, I would like to think that this was more of an abnormal thing because we haven't seen it this year at all. These guys give each other room. They race with a lot of respect, and you know what? When you're out there racing, sometimes mistakes happen. I mean, I've run into teammates before. We don't go out try wrecking each other, but when you race enough, these things happen.
So the iRacing Pace Car dives down pit road as it's Osmond Radford leading us back to green. The Lucky Finn Project 100 is back to green at Kansas. It's Osmond with a great restart. Medford or Radford has Medford and Spencer on his tail as they head into 1 and 2.
Yeah, this time it'll be interesting to see how that outside moves compared to the inside. Right now, you've got more guys to the outside, but they quickly try to move up where they can. Going here into 3 now, well, a lot of them went down low going through 3 and 4.
Medford makes a move on Radford for second. He's going to complete it coming out. Slide up in front of him. Spencer looks to make a move on Radford next. It's Osmond who leads lap 7 as they get racy behind him, including a battle between Roy Hyde and Hunter Tate for 5th.
Yeah, and that's one of the other things I really like about this track. The slide job here is a lot easier to accomplish and pull off than most any other mile and a half that we go to.
Hyde and Ping are able to move past Hunter. Tate, as now Hyde sets his tails on Spencer, he'll move past him as well. Great corner for Roy Hyde as he's now in the top 5.
Roy Hyde's had a good start to this race here, and it's always a good feeling when you can move up, see the leader, this early on. It's a good thing for confidence, and you can focus out that windshield a little more than through the rearview mirror.
They're side-by-side row after row from about 4th on currently as it's Hyde and the 48 a Hedrick making that inside line work as they move past Spencer and Ping as Hunter Tate watches from behind. Real racy throughout the field. When you talk about slide jobs, I think of that move that Carl Edwards tried to make going into 3 and 4 where he was 100 yards back and tried to make it stick, got in front of him for a second, and then slammed into the wall, unable to claim victory in that NASCAR Cup Series race here.
Yeah, that was a heck of a move, and you got to give him credit. When you just resign to following somebody, well, guess what? You're just going to finish right there behind them. But Carl went for it, and you know what? That's one of the things old cousin Carl is fun to watch because of that.
And going for it now, it's Radford past Osmond. They're side by side through 1 and 2. He'll try to complete the pass as he slides up beside him down the backstretch. Osmond fights back on that outside line.
Yeah, this is great racing early on here. You got 2 lanes that are obviously working here, and these guys are a bit racy.
Osmond will lead that lap as we've got 10 laps complete. 100 laps around this mile and a half tonight. 150 miles will make up our Lucky Finn Project 100.
Yeah, when you see him this racy, you know that everybody is liking the sets that are in the cars, and they feel really comfortable and can really move around. And man, this makes us a great show.
John, you've raced in series. Can you kind of talk to us about, you get the setup on Friday. You have a couple days with it before it's race day. What are you trying to accomplish in that 48 hours before the race?
Find out how long your tires will last. Look at the times. Okay, a lap 30. What are my lap times compared to lap 10? So you can figure out maybe do I short pit. What am I going to do? You want to figure out how far you can go on fuel. And then the other thing is you just want to make laps. Run in the high line so you can get used to being up against the wall. Run the low line so you can figure out exactly how to get the most out of your car down there. And that's the kind of stuff that you do. Just put that car all over the track so you know what it's going to do. So when you get into the race here, there's no surprises. And if you got teammates, it's even better because you can go out there and feel a car behind another car, when there's air off your nose, and you can, get a feel, okay, it's going to wash up behind another car, or, it's going to suck up down the straightaway, so I got to, plan for big runs and that kind of stuff. So there is a whole lot, if you choose to do so, you can accomplish a lot in those 2 days.
As we have a battle for second, Medford makes a move on the inside of Radford as Osmond watches from ahead. Side by side for second through 1 and 2. Osmond continues to lead 14 on lap 14. Medford wants to add his name to the list of leaders, though, tonight. As he battles in that Zoey's place, number 83, he'll fall back in line behind Radford.
Yeah, and just a note from pit road, it looks like Brian Snare is taking his car back to the garage area, and they've started loading it up and going to head on out.
Looks like Littleton, Snare, and Lance Yancey, the 3 involved in that first caution, all having problems, as now it looks like 2 of them have dropped out. I saw Littleton around the inside down on the apron. So still trying to figure it out. As a points leader, though, if he can stay out there and try to collect as many points and positions as possible, obviously that is what he's going to try to do to keep his lead and not have it punish him too much for that early wreck.
Yeah, right now he's 4 laps down, so his big goal here needs to be just make laps, stay out of trouble. If he sees a couple of guys racing hard in front of him, maybe back away from them, so if they get in any trouble, he doesn't get into another incident. So, yeah, it's a tough night and not a whole lot of fun, especially after winning the last race, and then you have some dang commentator put a curse on you before you even take the green flag, so got to be a little bit of a tough night for him.
One guy I've been watching early in this race is that number 66 of Chris Berg. He's up 7 spots, currently running 8th. He's meticulously made his way up through there as him and Mitchell Snare there in that 43. And my pick, John, that's still out there making laps, continue to move up towards the front behind Hunter Tate.
Yeah. So you're not cursed. We all know it. But yeah, they are moving forward. And the cool thing is this track, we're seeing those couple of lines early on in these runs. So you've got the opportunities to make passes. But now, we're about 17 laps into the run. Now the tires are starting to give up a little. And I'm seeing a little more single file up towards the top of the track now.
Well, it's interesting because we've seen it all season long. The tire wear and how you use it throughout the night really has come in play. We've seen some guys run up front, really press on their tires, and when we get into long runs, which we've seen plenty of them all season long, it's really come back to bite them, and they've had a hard time holding on to the track position that they'd fought so hard for. As Radford following in Osmond's tracks, we're currently in that point of the race where I feel like they just start falling in line and knocking out the laps before they get to some strategy play or really getting into attack mode.
Yeah, and going back to your point to the tires about guys, getting different results out of them, how you approach the corners is largely going to dictate how the tires treat you, especially a little later in the run. Guys that like to drive it in deep, maybe drag the brake a little bit to get the car to turn, they're going to use up those tires a little bit quicker than a guy that might lift maybe, 50 yards sooner, kind of float the car in the corner, let the car roll, pick the throttle back up. So it really depends on your driving style on what you're going to get out of those tires.
Dale Osmond continues to lead. He's coming to lap 20 complete now as our top 3 have started to pull away, but back in the pack, they're still racing. I look back at Roy Hyde and Dustin Ping battling for 5th, and then also that Berg Snare Hedrick group still battling as they make their way up, really grouped with Hunter Tate leading that pack from 7th on.
Yeah, and we talk about strategies and short pitting. Dale Osmond's last lap was a 32.56. Well, guess what? He qualified much quicker than that at 31.02. So you're getting to be a second and a half here on lap 20 off. So I got a feeling, 37 is about the number that in that give or take a lap or two where guys are probably going to really seriously think about pitting. But we've seen it every year or every race. You might see somebody come in lap 32, 31, 30, and really make use of that extra second and a half.
So put on your driver's hat. We're going to take our Blackhawk Motorsports Shake and Bake in-car.
Sure. You can see Dale come right out against the wall here, and he lifts right about where the NASCAR logo is on the wall, and he's just rolling the throttle, rolling the car through, meeting the car just to kind of push it forward through the corner. And then here he is almost out of the corner before he starts really picking up the car, really taking care of his tires here. He lifts early again, coasts, and you could just hear him barely meeting with that throttle to keep the car right against the wall so it doesn't push out into the wall. And as he gets out, once he gets this car pointed down the straightaway, you see him come down right on the grass. Kansas, you can get below that white line there. Our bigger tracks, that's a no-no. But here you can go all the way down to the grass. He's using every inch of the track and just, he's being smooth. This is what you have to do to take care of your equipment and lead here. He doesn't have anybody in front of him that he's got to worry about checking up on or anything like that, he can run his late race, his line to where he feels good at, and he's making good time here.
So now 25 laps complete. Dale Osmond stretched his lead to over a second over Brandon Medford now, as we see battles throughout the field, but really settling in as we're a quarter way through the race now, and looking at green flag pit stops here in probably the next 10 to 12 laps, unless somebody really tries to short go it here to get this race started.
Yeah, and like I said, you're talking a second and a half lap time, and some of these other guys are up to a second. So if you pit 5 or 6 laps, that's a big gain just over that course of the course of those laps. So and maybe it'll be a monkey see, monkey do. Maybe everybody will wait till that first guy comes in, and once one comes in, then you'll see them all come in the next lap or two. So it's always interesting. It's always fascinating to watch how this plays out. But I will say this: Kentucky, Kansas's pit road entrance is sketchy. It comes up on you in a hurry coming out of turn 4. So guys are going to have to be real careful. I won't be a bit surprised if we don't see somebody out in that big patch there, between the start finish line and pit road. It's a really, really difficult pit road to get on.
So Osmond continues to lead. Medford second. Radford falling back to third now as they settle in. Chris Spencer up to fourth, and Dustin Ping now up to fifth. As that group we talked about, Ping, Berg, and Hyde are now making their way past Hunter Tate as they continue to move up, with Mitchell Snare not far behind, but Berg and Ping looking to set sails and head up on that top 4 group just ahead of them.
Yeah, and right now they're about 5 seconds behind the leader. Well, if they were to pit early, by the time it cycled through, they would come out probably ahead, as long as Roy Hyde there, not Roy Hyde, sorry, but Dale Osmond stays out on the track, that extra 5 or 6 laps.
So Dale now almost a 2-second lead, continues to run. How much do you press it here? He's stretching his lead over Medford. How much do you want to stretch it here? Or if you have your pit strategy already planned, John, do you just push as hard as you can because you have that number already in your head?
Well, based on what I saw in Dale's in-car, he's just being smooth. I didn't really hear him pushing the car or anything. You kind of want to be a little conservative. You don't want to put the car, and not because you got the lead, but because it's lap 29. You don't want to put the car on the wall. You don't want to make a mistake that's going to cost you a race. You're not going to win the race by leading lap 29. So you just want to be smart here, be kind of conservative, manage the gap. I would have my relative up looking at the times and making sure if they close it in a little bit, that's fine. But, if they get too close, then I see if I can't stretch it back out if I'm in his shoes. But I got a feeling we're going to see pit stops before that happens. That's the nice thing about having a big lead like that. That's going to help him decide his pit strategy much better than the other guys, because while they're trying to catch him, he has the luxury of staying out maybe a lap or two than the guys that are directly behind him without losing that lead.
So like we've talked about all season long, currently on one of our longer green flag runs, we had a caution on lap number 1, our first Willis Landscaping caution of the night. Our Blackhawk Motorsports restart zone got us back to green, and it's been Dale Osmond all night as he completes lap 31. We move on to lap 32 of the Lucky Finn Project 100, and we'll take a look throughout the field. Some of the guys that have been making moves: Chris Spencer up 5 spots to 4th. Back behind him in that 66, Chris Berg up 9 spots to 6th. And then we've got a group of them. Mitchell Snare currently 9th, up 5 spots. Nathan Bishop, who you brought up pre-race, John, up 9 spots to 10th. And then the 46 of Chris Medford slowly making his way up. He's up to 11th after starting 23rd tonight. So a lot of guys setting themselves up for making some either green flag pit stops, or if we do have a caution that brings it out, they've made up some time on the track and will really be setting themselves up for a battle later in the race.
Absolutely. And nothing builds more confidence than passing guys. You can sit there and drive around guys, and every pass you make, it gives you that little kick in the seat of your pants. All right, cool. I'm going in the right direction, which you definitely don't want your cars going the other way around you and you're going backwards. So moving forward early on in a race I can't tell you how much of a confidence boost and a momentum builder is to really try to continue to move forward as the race wears on.
So Dale Osmond continues to lead his interval almost up to 3 seconds over Troy Radford, as it looks like Brandon Medford has fallen back to 4th, as Chris Spencer was also able to get by him. Anything you're seeing out of that Medford machine, John, to explain his recent drop back?
No, maybe he's just maybe put a little bit much into the tires here, and as they've fallen off, and just kind of slowed him down a little bit here. Looking here at his lap times, he's definitely a little bit slower than the other guys, but he was a little bit quicker than them early on. So that's got to be a tire deal.
It looks like Gordon Larson Jr. and Mike Massengale both pulled into the pits. So we hit lap 36. We're almost to your window that you talked about between 37 and 43, John. So expect to see some guys making some green flag pit stops if we continue to run this way here in the next couple laps.
Yeah, and another retiree went to the garage is another guy that was involved in that early on incident there, Lance Yancey. It looks like that he is loaded up and headed out to 70 to head back east.
So they'll make their way back through. Osmond will complete lap 36. Looks like no takers this time by. And we've seen a lot of movement with green flag pit stops. We've seen some really good stops. I think of Chris Spencer. He had some really good stops at Richmond earlier in the year. We've seen some movement and really seen it play. And sometimes, we'll get that first group to come in. We normally have a group of them that tries to stay out and stretch it the other way. And it's been really interesting to see what pit strategy and what fuel mileage strategy pays off at the end.
Absolutely. And, watching these guys circle around here, the teams are chattering, I guarantee it, between themselves to who's going to go and when. But I don't know if I'd want to stretch it too far in here because this track is fast. It looks like it's pretty clean racing for the most part, and you definitely don't want to get caught out here and give up any time.
It'll be interesting to see what that 83 of Medford does. He's now fallen back to the grips of Chris Berg for 4th and 5th, with Ping and Hunter Tate not far behind. Medford's got to be one that I think is looking for that floodgate of pit stops to start, or maybe he will be that first one to dive in there for us of the leaders.
Yeah, I have to think so. I mean, if he's falling back, and as I'm suspecting it's tires, he's got to be close to wanting to go get those. They're in their window. 39 laps in, that means we got to take her. Looks like our leader.
Second place, third place will follow. It looks like Chris Berg's going to be the first one to stay out and lead this lap. And Medford stays out with him too. So we have the first few of them dive down onto pit road. Chris Berg will be our new leader at lap 40.
Yeah, a bunch of them are coming down right here. And the neat thing about this is in lap 40, that means you could do this on one more stop. And be just fine on fuel, even with a green-white checkered or anything like that. So that's a plus for the drivers. They know they only have to do this one more time now.
Chris Berg will make his way this time down pit road. Is Brandon Medford, the guy that we thought might be an early goer for the pit road, will stay out and lead this lap for lap 41 as pit stops under green continue here at Kansas.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know that I would want to stay out for too long, just because if this thing goes green, which it could, you really don't want to give up this much time. These guys, when they come out, they're going to be a lot quicker here.
And Medford will make it by this time by, so we'll continue to see it cycle through.
Yep,
Dale Osmond's back out on there as he's ahead of Radford and Spencer, so the top three came out as they went in, and if this cycles out like we expect it to here under green, it's going to be Osmond back in the lead with really no time lost after making his pit stop.
Yeah, and Osmond right now is a lap down. So, I mean, there is one thing here that you've got to be nervous about doing that early. If he was able to, if their caution came out right now, a good part of the field, a little over half the field will be trapped a lap down right now.
So the 46 of Medford, who was already moving up through the field before these pit stops, has taken over the lead on lap 42. And now on lap 43, we'll see what he does, as it now looks like 7 guys left to still pit. Here under green, you're watching the Lucky Finn Project 100 Light Electric Company NextGen Series on Extreme eSpeed TV. And Chris Medford will at least stay out. And then Roy Hyde right behind him and Travis Smith in third. These are 3 guys we've seen play with the strategy and pit stops throughout the year, so we'll see how it pays off this time.
Yeah, the 22 of Matt Kopp pits now from 5th. And, yeah, the one thing is that's going to be to their advantage. At the end of the run, they're probably going to be a little quicker than the guys that pitted early. And the only thing that's really going to spoil that strategy would be that dreaded caution. So, again, fun times here. We see the 30 coming down pit road now, too. Bobby Hetrick will pit from 7th, I believe.
So lap 45, Chris Medford continues to lead.
And Travis Smith is in from 3rd.
So it looks like you've got Medford, Hyde, and Blunt, the last 3 out there. And then it will cycle around to Dale Osmond should take over 4th here shortly. And Roy Hyde pits this time, so the number continues to dwindle as Chris Medford continues to lead. And we should cycle through once him and Eric Blunt, that 6, dive in and make their pit stops here for the first time at Kansas.
Brian Littleton is on pit road, but again, he is 4 laps down after an early incident there. And boy, that car looks worse for wear. He doesn't have a front end on that machine.
And here comes the 46 of Medford, so it's going to be Eric Blunt if he stays out this time. He will take over the lead. And he will, so he will lead lap 46. And then you can see the distance between Dale Osmond, currently in 2nd, and Troy Radford, currently in 4th, which were our top 2 before these green flag pit stops. Currently, Eric Blunt's 14 seconds ahead of Dale Osmond, and Osmond's fresher tires are shrinking that quickly, as Eric will stay out at least 1 more lap as we get closer and closer to the halfway mark here at Kansas.
Yeah, he probably putting a heck of a long run on those tires. And I guess the one thing he won't have to do is get a full tank of gas when he comes back and pits. So maybe that's part of his strategy. You can get off pit road a little quicker by not having to fill that car up.
So if he makes it to the halfway mark, he should be able to make it another 50 laps, correct?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to have to pit again, no matter who you are, even Blunt here, who is stretched it. But the difference is, if Blunt comes in and fills up right now, now I see your point. If he can get to lap 50, it stands to reason that would be his final stop.
And it looks like he's not coming in, so he will try to complete lap 50 before coming down pit road. His gap. Go
ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say his gap was 14 seconds. It's now about 8 seconds and going quickly down. So I would expect him to come in this next time by.
Yeah, and I went ahead and listened to his in-car audio a little bit, and I remember last week we heard guys at Michigan shutting the cars off in the corner. He's not doing this. Oh, he just downshifted. He's coming in right now.
So on lap 50, our last taker to pit road will come in. And as he does that, Osmond will enter turns 3 or come out of turn 4, take the lead. And now his lead over Radford's only just over a second. Before the pit stops, he had a 3-second lead over Troy. So Troy has really made up some ground since pitting.
Yeah, it is possible that he made it all up on pit road. Somebody that lays up a little bit, to where the speed gets down to pit road speed, you can make up ground in that area, or also getting off of pit road once you get out when you're down on the apron. If the guy in front of you is taking it a little easy and you can be a little more aggressive, I cannot tell you how much time you can cut out from the guy in front of you.
So after green flag pit stops, the cars are really spread out. The closest battle is back for 6th, as you've got Brandon Medford in 6th, Mitchell Snare right behind him in 7th. As you see, Eric Blunt's now back on the track. He is currently running 22nd, so he made it to halfway on that set of tires and gas. We'll see if the second half of the race he tries to do the same, and he's actually going to be... Is he a lap down now, John?
We'll see when he crosses the start-finish line here. But I don't know that that'll matter. Let's just say it goes, he is a lap down. If we go green, he's going to have an advantage. The strategy he's on, though, one caution, and that's going to be out the window here.
So you see the 43 of Mitchell Snare. My pick moves into the top 5, John, as he makes that slide job. But Medford fights back on the inside. With Eric Blunt right behind him, you can really see the difference fresh tires make even a few laps as he gets up with them as the 43 and 83 continue to battle for position.
Got to keep spiking the ball about the pits or the picks. Yeah, but it was a good pick, by the way. But gonna giggle about this all night. Oh, now he's in the wall a little bit, going through 3 and 4 here. But yeah, these guys are early on. This is kind of what we saw. Guys that were close together in that early part of that run. You got 4 new Dr. Feelgoods on the car, and all of a sudden you can move around and make moves, and that's what we're seeing with these two.
So Dale Osmond continues to lead. He led the first 39 laps. He took back over on lap 50, so 5 more added to his tally for the day as Troy Radford continues to try to make up ground. Behind him, you got Chris Spencer in 3rd, Chris Berg in 4th, and Hunter Tate in 5th for your top 5.
This is actually probably the most spread out that we've seen this entire year, which is really remarkable when you think of all the racing we've had this year. We finally get one that's strung out a little bit.
Definitely is. Looking through, we've got Chris Medford, who after leading some laps there during green flag pit stops, he's still running 10th, so still running where he was prior to, and Roy Hyde right behind him as they battle for 10th currently. Chris Medford, someone that we saw look real good, stayed out, had some strategy. He was moving up prior to green flag pit stops. He started 23rd, now in the top 10. And then the guy you talked about early and before the race was that 27 of Nathan Bishop. He's up 11 spots, currently running 8th. So a fast 27 machine he has tonight as well.
Yeah, and I could be off here a little bit, but it seems like Nathan, that's kind of his MO. If he's anything like I am, you're busting off that one lap for qualifying, not really good at it. I race better than I qualify, and I'm kind of getting that sense about Nathan. He's just a really, really good driver. Once they get going in race conditions, he's, just always finds his way to the front, but qualifying, it seems to always trip him up a little bit.
Looking at our point standings coming into tonight, John, we had Brian Littleton come in with a 24-point lead. He's currently in 25th, 4 laps down after a lap 1 wreck he was caught up in. Roy Hyde in 2nd. He's currently running 10th. Steve Baker not racing tonight. He was in 3rd prior to this evening and a 2-time winner this season. Travis Smith in 4th. He's currently running 13th. And then Brian Mescal Jr. in 5th. He's running 11th. So it's going to open up the door for you look back at Tyler Hilton in 6th, Troy Radford in 7th in points, currently running in 2nd. I expect to see some shakeup among our point standings if things continue the way they currently are. And as we head back east, things could look a lot different.
Absolutely, especially with Baker not being here. So that's going to be an opportunity for other drivers to move up for sure.
So it looks like Dustin Ping made a pit stop there. He falls back to 20th after running in the top 10. That puts Chris Berg in 4th, Hunter Tate in 5th. Brandon Medford continues to run top 10 in 6th. And now Nathan Bishop's moved up. He's got the 43 of Mitchell Snare in his sights now as he tries to move up to 7th, and he'll make a move in 1 and 2.
Yeah, and the guy that we saw stretch, Eric Blunt, is in the pits too. He must have had a problem on the track or something, but that was a really fast pit stop. I don't know if he's topping off, might be all part of his strategy here, but now absolutely, if a caution comes out, his race is sunk.
Was looking through. Dustin Ping was up in just outside the top 10 before dropping back and then eventually having to pit. So some issues here as we make our long green flag run. It's included green flag pit stops already. Dale Osmond was our leader before. He's our leader after, and now he stretched that lead over Troy Radford to over 2 seconds. As a lot of distance, we've got about 5 battles out on the track for position right now, but they are not easy to come by. And they are definitely spread around this 1.5 miles in Kansas.
Yeah, they really are. And like I said, I think we're due for this because we haven't seen this all year, which is fine. This is still entertaining. Guys are out there battling. But yeah, they're definitely got some distance between them in some spots, and a lot of spots.
Chris Medford now up to 7th. He was able to get past Mitchell Snare. Chris now sets his sights on Brandon, who's running 6th. And then you see that number 1 of Dustin Ping, who was up battling with them not long ago. He's now a lap down and not for position as they continue to get strung around. Looking at our movers and shakers throughout the night, Chris Berg up 11 spots to 4th. Chris Medford, who you're watching, up 16 to 7th, and then Nathan Bishop up 10th to 9th to get into that top 10 there. Great run for the number 34 of Doug Wasaki. He is up to 14th after starting 24th in that 34 machine. Haven't talked about him yet tonight, but a great run for him as he has made his way up through the field as we now are on lap 66 of 100.
Yeah, we do have a lot of guys. We only have 16 cars left on the lead lap. That's the one product of the long green flag run and having a guy that's just knocking down fast times in Dale Osmond. I guess it being his birthday, he's got a little more motivation or maybe in a little better of a mood or whatever the case might be. Man, is he clicking off some fast laps right now and putting a lot of good cars a lap down.
He is about... that last time just about 0.24 faster than second place. The time before was almost a half a second faster. So really quickly moving around the track, faster than second and third. Chris Berg's the next fastest out there, him and Chris Medford. Chris Medford was able to get past the 83 of Brandon Medford, now up to 6th as Chris continues to move up. We'll see how far he can get up, as he is still behind our leader about 12 seconds, but he is picking them off one by one throughout this field.
Yeah, he is. And the nice thing about having a lead like that is, when you do make a pit stop, especially if it's going to be a green flag pit stop, having that lead, that means you can play a little safe coming into pit road. You don't have to take any chances. You can ease on out. You're on cold tires. You can ease on out. Don't have to try to get too much coming out of pit road. That makes life a lot easier. But I'll tell you, We're on lap 68. These tires seem to be falling off after about 20 laps or so. I won't be a bit surprised if somebody doesn't, instead of running that 30, 38 laps this time around, you don't see somebody short pit here, maybe lap 70, 71, and see if they can't cut into that lead. Last time they followed Osmond down pit road, but if I'm Radford at this point, I think I take the chance and pit a little early and see if I can close that gap on fresh tires. Yeah, just as I was saying, I think if you got to make up time in front of the guy in front of you, second to first. Now's the time to do it. I don't know that there's a fall off between lap 20 and lap 30 on the tires. Once you get to lap 20, you're already a second and a half off. I would be really tempted to be coming down pit road, like I said, right about lap 70, 71, and which is where we're at. Get those tires and make my stop, and just let the rest of the race play out.
This time by Chris Berg, who was running 4th, Mitchell Snare, who was running 8th, will make their way down pit road. So we're watching Dale Osmond, our leader here on lap 71, see what move he makes. But some guys, as you mentioned, pitting a little bit quicker to try to see what kind of gains they can make on our leader, who was well out in front of the field.
Yeah, they continue to stay out. Maybe they're just going to be a monkey do. Once Osmond comes in, they'll bring them in. But boy, I tell you, I would be pitting here right now because he's driving away from on the tires. So I mean, your only thing to do here is try to do something different. And the only way that you're going to make up time is get those fresher tires on your car a little bit earlier.
Chris Spencer pitted that last time by. It's Osmond, Radford, Chris Medford, and Brandon Medford, your top 4. Roy Hyde now moves into 5th, as we've got about half the field's pitted. The other half is continuing to make laps here. Lap 73 of 100 for the Lucky Finn Project 100 here at Kansas Speedway.
Yeah, Mitchell Snare is saying that he's about to come into the pits here. I'm looking here on the driver chat. So I see. We have one almost wrecks coming into pit road. It's 71 of Gary Ragland.
So he makes it down pit road.
Man, that was close to being a caution too. He was tracking sideways on the entrance.
Osmond continues to lead. He's got over a 3-second lead over Troy Radford, as we will see who comes this time as Osmond takes that low line, and it's our leader pitting. We'll see who follows him in this time by. He slams on the brake to slow it down to get to pit road speed, and Radford's right behind him.
Yeah, Radford was able to make up some time there. Looks like a pit entry. But yeah, now they're going to come out a little closer for sure, but now any advantage on new tires is going to go away. The leaders are all going to be out on an even playing field.
So our leader will now be the 46 of Chris Medford. We've seen him be quick all night. We'll see what strategy he comes back with here. With 26 laps to go, he takes over the lead with Osmond and Radford pitting, and it looks like he is going to stay out at least one more lap. We saw him do this as well. He stayed out 4 extra laps and led late during that last green flag pit stop rotation. So we'll see what he goes with this time by, as you see Radford entering back onto the track after his pit stop.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, right now the guys that have pitted, they are doing no caution dance in their seats. They do not want to see a caution until this cycles through.
Osmond pulls back onto the track behind the 46. 46 and Larson Jr. are there as they enter at the same time. Look like there could have been an issue there, but the 46 of Chris Medford makes it down pit road. Brandon Medford and Roy Hyde follow in behind him.
I'll be interested to know if anybody gets a speeding penalty out of that line like that.
I will say this. I've been watching the entrance to pit road, and you do see guys getting a lot more squirrely. So the sense of urgency has gone up. Guys are trying to get a lot more on the entrance to pit road than they were the first cycle. Now the big question I'm going to have, Travis, those guys that pushed it to lap 47, 48, 49. Do they come in? Do they stay out? Have they been saving this run to try to get those couple of extra laps? That's going to be something that I think as these go through, we need to watch and see what happens.
So Jimmy Hedrick takes over the lead as Chris Medford pitted. Looking back at that, Eric Blunt was one that stayed out long. Massengale also stayed out long. Blunt's currently running 18th. As they cycle through, as it's Hedrick the only one out in front of Osborne after pit stops have been made. Big movers though, Chris Berg and Chris Spencer were able to move ahead of Radford during that green flag pit stop there.
Which kind of makes me wonder what I said earlier about having been able to do a quicker pit stop. Were they able to go in and maybe instead of taking X amount of gallons? You know what? Now that I'm thinking this through, everybody should take about the same amount of fuel because you're only taking the amount of fuel to get to the end. They just must have been able to get on pit road a little quicker. Maybe a two-tire stop, maybe.
Well, it's interesting that it's Berg and Spencer as Radford now battles up to the inside of them. Great momentum down the backstretch on the inside of Spencer, and now moves on to Berg as he goes into turns 3. But Berg and Spencer, I think it was Richmond, also played some strategy with pit stops, and they didn't pick up the win, but they definitely were able to move up through the field as they continue to battle with Radford for 3rd place currently.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the times go down here. You know, Dale Osborne was about 15 seconds behind the previous lap. Was able to chip away 3 seconds here. And here we go. Hedrick is on pit road. So we are now cycled through, and here we are. We're off to the end of the race here.
So with 20 to go, we're cycled back through. Dale Osborne will retake the lead. Radford's able to get past Berg and Spencer, so he's back in 2nd. And Hunter Tate currently running 5th, your top 5, as we go with 20 to go in the Lucky Finn Project 100 Light Electric Company Next Gen Series at Kansas Speedway. Nathan Bishop continues to move up. He's 6th. Chris Medford, after pitting's now currently running 7th.
And fourth and fifth, Chris Berg and Spencer side by side across the finish line.
They battle for 4th through 1 and 2. Trey Radford's set his sights on Dale Osborne up ahead as he's about a second off of Osborne for the lead. 19 laps to go. Things will wind down as everyone has pitted except for a couple that really extended their first run, with Eric Blunt currently running in 17th. And he's running just behind our leader, so he's a lap down as well.
Yeah, I have to believe his strategy is to run it out. He pits down, he's going to fall further down that list. That's a lot of points. So he should be good to go, especially because he made that second stop not too long after he made his first. But that battle for 4th and 5th, though, man, that's tight coming off of 4.
Radford's under a second behind Osborne now as he sets another gear, trying to chase him down as the laps wind down. And you can see that gap now under 0.8 of a second. So Radford really giving it all he has, as he was our Linda Haney Memorial Pole Award winner tonight. Started on the front row next to Osborne. Osborne's led the first 39 laps before green flag pit stops. And then after cycling through, he took it back over with 20 to go.
Yeah, and Osborne is coming up on traffic here. This is probably going to allow Radford to continue to close in here. Right now, Osborne's got to get a toe off the car in front of him. That's going to be a little bit beneficial because Radford's too far behind to get a toe off Osborne. But then you go to the corners here and they lose down. But you see through the center, Radford does close up a little bit in the center of the corner. And now Radford moves down to try to get the toe off that same car to get everything to kind of maybe even out a little bit. Yeah, and I don't know if that's a combination of some guys are just trying to take it easy and conserve their stuff up until this point. Now it's go time. That pay window is open here. So or they just were aggressive on pit road. They got one under their belt. And they knew that they could get a little bit more out of it. And this time they did. Like I said, I saw a lot more guys pushing that limit. They were having an issue. Coming into the pits, I saw a lot of guys get real squirrely on the pit road, which told me that sense of urgency had gone up, and they weren't pushing a lot more than what they were earlier.
So Osmond continues to lead. Radford now back a second. Mitchell Snare, Royd Hyde gets by him for 9th as they battle for just inside the top 10 there. And right behind them you see the 80 machine of our points leader coming into tonight, Brian Littleton. He had issues in that lap 1 wreck, missing the front clip of his car now. But he's continued to make laps. There just hasn't been any other cautions or wrecks that have put anyone else behind him.
Yeah, seat time is always good. No matter what kind of car it is. You get out there, you just get laps in the car, different lines. And even though you might not be completely up to speed with that damage, you can still learn little things out there. Little tricks on maybe what to do corner entry that the car likes, or even dislikes for that matter. But good to see him finish the race. I'm glad. I hate to pick a guy that completely get wiped out. Lap 3. But yeah, tough night for our point leader.
As we look back through the field, Chris Medford up to 6th, making a move on 5th place. Hunter Tate in that 8 machine. Chris Medford continues to have a fast car, picking him off again on this green flag run. He makes a move on the inside of Tate through 1 and 2. If he can do that, he'll be back into the top 5 and set his sights on Chris Berg in 4th.
Yeah, Chris Medford, we do got to give a big shout out to him. He has come all the way from 23rd, all the way up to 6th. That is a hell of a run for that 46 machine.
And Eric Blunt gets into the wall in front of Hunter Tate, just behind Medford. Hunter Tate got into the rear of the 6. He'll continue to go. Little damage on the nose of that 8 machine, so we'll see what that does for his run as well. Currently running inside the top 10. But yeah, Chris Medford, each green flag run, he's picked them up. He's tried some pit strategy. It hasn't been huge strategy and hasn't really made a difference, but it also hasn't set back his progress out on the track.
No, it really hasn't. After watching this race, and then having all this room and able to race clean. We're going to Martinsville next week. Something tells me that's going to be a little different of a race.
Yeah, the green flag runs that we've had throughout this first portion of our 2022 schedule, it might change. I look ahead, we have the All-Star race in June at Bristol. I think Gateway will be exciting in July. And then we'll have some tracks. I know we're going to Myrtle Beach later in the year. We're going to Hickory. So we'll get some old school short track racing coming up soon. And it should definitely be different than what we've seen on some of the tracks we've been at lately. We talked about at each race. Great racing throughout, great strategy throughout, and hard-fought wins throughout the season. But we have some different types of racing coming up on the schedule.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, different tracks, different guys. Some guys like mile and a half, some guys like the short track. It'll be neat to see if we get different characters up front through those races. But yeah, those bull rings like Myrtle Beach, you got to fear the turtles overcoming out of turn 2, and Martinsville up next week. And I would say, Travis, are those tracks that you might see some carnage?
I think so. There's on the Cool Ray Pro Late Model Dirt Series, also on Extreme eSpeed TV. Yeah, Bristol brought some carnage. Definitely some different types of battles. And like we've seen all year, we have these guys that are better at some tracks than others. So it'll be interesting to see who kind of rises to the top, and maybe one guy that doesn't really fancy the 1.5 miles or the bigger tracks really sets his sails at those short tracks. And each week it's fun here on Sunday night, so it'll be interesting to see what happens throughout this season.
Absolutely. You can tell I watched you on the Pit Side podcast today. Did a nice job there, by the way.
Yeah, it's been fun. We got 5 laps to go here at Kansas Speedway. We've got the Light Electric Company NextGen Series every Sunday night throughout the season here on Extreme eSpeed TV, where it's been a pleasure joining you every Sunday night to cover those. Adam Johnson and I do the Cool Ray Pro Late Model Series typically on Wednesday nights for some dirt racing action. And then we've also broadcast some Coast to Coast Racing League events, which has been a lot of fun. Each series, great groups of guys and great racing, which is all you can ask for as a broadcaster. I just benefit in being able to see great racing every night.
Yeah, and I'm watching these guys week in and week out. Being able to be up here with you is just been fun. I mean, these guys. Like I said, this one, it's been good racing. It's just a little more separation between the cars. Strategy, we've still seen it. Not knowing what guys are going to do. Right now, Osmond now has stretched that lead back out on Radford here as getting ready to wind down. But it's amazing with these leagues. It's funny. It's so hard to find a good group of guys to settle in a league. But boy, when you do, you feel like you hit the lottery. Watching how these guys react, this is definitely a league that I would really like to run in. So it's just been a real good thing, and these guys should feel real good about the product they put on the track every week.
So Dale Osmond will lead. He will come to 2 laps to go. We were looking back. Brandon Medford, Roy Hyde were both able to get past Hunter Tate, as Tate fell back to 9th after getting some damage a few laps ago. Also, some shout-outs to Travis Smith, currently running in 12th. He's up 10 spots. And then that 34 machine right behind him, Doug Wasaki, up to 13th after starting 24th. So great runs for them as well. But it's all Dale Osmond up front as he makes his way around. He will come out of turn 4, take the white flag, one more lap around Kansas Speedway, and Dale Osmond will be able to claim his first victory of 2022.
On his birthday, no less.
I was thinking back, I think Kyle Busch won on his birthday recently in the Cup Series. I want to say Harry Gant did it back in the early 90s at one point, but there is no better present for Dale Osmond from Kansas Speedway as he will win on his birthday. He claims victory in the Lucky Finn Project 100, a dominating performance by Dale as he will pull into Century Victory Lane after winning tonight at Kansas.
What a performance. I gotta use the word dominate. He really dominated this event. And what an impressive run from start to finish for the 88 car.
So rounding out your top 5, it's going to be Osmond, Radford, Chris Spencer ends up 3rd, Chris Berg ends up 4th, Chris Medford up 18 spots. Got to think he's in for a mover of a race award. Finishes top 5, up 18 spots. And then the guy you talked about pre-race, Nathan Bishop, ends up with a 6th place finish, up 13 spots. So some really great runs throughout the field.
Yeah, especially considering we went green, with the exception of that little hiccup on lap, was it 1 or 3 or something like that. So essentially a 90-plus green flag run, and still be able to make moves. I mean, it's easier to make moves when you have cautions because you double up, everyone stays closer. It's, you get more strung out with the longer green flag runs, but yet they were still able to continue to move forward all through the night and just bring home some solid finishes. They should be, if you go talk to them, I'm sure that they're real happy about how this thing ended here tonight.
So Dale parks it at the start-finish line after doing some donuts in front of the crowd here. We'll wait for our top 3 finishers. It'll be Chris Spencer third, Troy Radford second, and Osbin with the win. Our podium finishers for tonight. Another great race. The Lucky Finn Project 100 from Kansas Speedway comes to a close. As we talked about, there should be some shakeups in the point standings as our point leader Brian Littleton will bring it home 25th after his lap 1 wreck that he was a part of. So we'll see how things shake out after this from the point standing standpoint, as we will wait for our podium finishers to join us in the booth.
Yeah, it could be pointed out that Roy High at double zero machine. He had the quick lap of the race of 31:19 there, so as dominant as Osbin was here, we had one guy that did turn a lap, and it was all the way on lap 49. So well into the race, was able to turn in his fastest lap. But once again, 90-plus laps, Travis, caution-free. I just can't say it enough. That's a testament to these guys. The respect that they give each other on the track, and that means that you don't. Not a lot of guys are trying to run over their heads, and guys are getting what they can get and driving with their abilities, and it just makes it a heck of a thing to sit and watch.
John, I think you've got our second place finisher Troy Radford ready to join you.
Yes, I do. Troy, John, in the booth here. Do you got a copy?
I do, guys. How are y'all doing tonight?
Doing good. Boy, are you tired of 90-plus green flag run there? Tell me, were you praying for that caution, or were you just kind of happy to have that run?
I was happy to be second. It's one where this is probably one of my worst tracks. I have really bad track record of somebody hitting the wall in front of me and then wiping me out. So, for me to come away with P2, Dale's top driver, probably best in the league, and way up there in iRacing. So, for me to come away P2 to him is good.
Well, it was a very consistent night there. How everything shook out. Did it make you nervous? Because I know you followed Dale in every time that the he came into pit. But what were your thoughts there for those couple laps as it was cycling through? Were you worried about cautions coming out, or did you feel pretty confident in everything that you had?
I think if the cautions are going to come out, they're going to come out early. It was kind of a hornet's nest there for a hot minute, when we restarted. But once it got spread out, it was fine. I mean, I wouldn't have complained about a caution, but the way that it came down, I kind of told my teammates, I said, it kind of came down to one moment. I was racing with Brandon. He slipped up and we lost about a second to Dale. And from then it was just kind of this cycle of I had to overdrive just a little bit to try to catch up to him, but I'm trying not to drive too much. And he's conserving and trying to let me come to him so that he can have better tires at the end. And so, it was kind of that every run we kind of ended at 2.5-ish second away, but I'd catch up to about a second behind, and then I'd drift a little bit. So, it was pretty dang consistent. Just needed a little something to be able to get there, but.
Well, Troy, I tell you, it was entertaining to watch you guys kind of play cat and mouse or chess or checkers or whatever you want to say out there, whatever metaphor you want to use. And what a great finish. Who would you like to give a shout out to and say hi to here tonight?
First of all, big shout out there to Lucky Finn Project. It's a cause that's near and dear to my heart with my son having a limb difference. So definitely big shout out to them. They're doing a lot of stuff online. You're going to actually see some of our races actually being promoted by the Lucky Finn Project on their Twitter and Facebook pages here pretty soon. We're kind of working on something. But other than that, all the guys over at Falcon Motorsports, Evidence-Based Mommy, and National Kidney Foundation, and just big thanks for you guys for doing what you do.
Well, Troy, real quick, that Lucky Finn project, can you tell everybody who's listening, like a web address they can go find out about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's luckyfinnproject.org, and it's all about limb differences. So we had a big surprise whenever my son was born. We had no idea that we had a limb difference coming, and he came out, and I looked down and I go, "There's part of an arm missing. So, a bit of a surprise for us, but definitely Lucky Finn Project gives a ton of support, hooks people up with groups within their, within their regions, wherever they're at, and just gives a ton of resources and things like that to people. Because again, when he was born, we had no clue. So I was up till I was freaking up all night just researching, trying to figure out, what went wrong, what's it going to look like as he grows up, and mind racing a million miles an hour, and found Lucky Finn Project real quick, and big help with them.
Well, the next races that we do, that's a part of the race.
So we need to bring you up here in the booth so you can kind of tell people about it. And we can try to get as many people hooked up with them and aware of that. What a great organization there sounds like.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Troy. Hey, good run tonight. Second place, good finish here. Congratulations. That is Troy Radford, our second place finisher tonight.
Hey, thank you.
Now joining us, our winner from Century Victory Lane, Dale Osmond. It's John and Travis up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you.
Dale, we talked about it earlier. A pretty dominating performance from you tonight, leading the first 39 laps, going through green flag pit stops, and then jumping right back where you left off. What was the difference tonight that really allowed you to pull away, especially from Radford, Spencer, some of the other guys that were quick throughout the evening?
Oh man, the setup was really good, and I think the track position, honestly. I was able to jump out of Troy there right at the beginning. I'd never seen dirty air really, apart from some lap cars later in the race. And clean air is king, especially when it's really a one-lane track.
We've seen a lot of green flag pit stops come up, a lot of strategy around those pit stops. Did tonight play out exactly like you wanted? Do you just stick to your plan before the race, or do you kind of make that decision once green flag pit stops start?
Yeah, I pretty much made my plan right as the race was starting, and on that first green flag pit stop, I think Troy and Chris could have forced me into something I didn't want to do, but they didn't, and I kind of took the lead on what we did for pit stops. So, tonight it was up to what I wanted to do for sure. I didn't get forced into anything. But not every week like that.
So as we leave Kansas, we go to Martinsville next week. What's your strategy going into our first short track of the year, and how do you expect the racing to be different as we shift to a half mile?
Strategy is to win. I've been pretty good at Martinsville in the recent years. I don't think racing is going to be much different. It's going to be classic short track racing, so a lot of bumping and beating. But I think it'll put on a good show just like we did tonight.
Well, a dominating performance tonight, Dale. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to that support you throughout the year?
Yeah, definitely. Conrad Group Agency for the main sponsorship there. And I'd like to thank everyone that family, friends watching. And for everyone showing up tonight. It's a great league that gets put on here. We got a great group of guys that run really clean, really good races.
Well, Dale, congratulations on your first win of 2022. We look forward to talking to you, and we'll see you next week in Martinsville.
And Dale, happy birthday!
Oh yeah! I forgot my own birthday. It's awesome when your birthday. That's just cherry on top, right?
Absolutely. Sorry, Travis. Wanted at least get that in.
No, you're good. We talked about it all night. What a great birthday present to yourself that would be. But yeah, happy birthday from all of us here up in the booth, and just a great performance all around, Dale.
Yeah, thank you guys.
That's Dale Osmond joining us from Century Victory Lane here at Kansas Speedway. And with that, we will come to a close, John. Any takeaways before we leave Kansas?
Well, I tell you, I'm going to be real interested to see when they reshuffle the points and see what the points look like coming out of this race and going into a different track. Like you said, it's our first real short track of the season. I think it's going to be a different skill set that's needed to get around there. These guys have a little time to reset, and obviously some practice this week is probably going to be very important for these guys. Just can't wait to get the next one under our belt.
So as we look at the results from the Lucky Finn Project 100 at Kansas Speedway, Dale Osmond, your victor. Radford second, Spencer third, fourth Berg, Chris Medford rounds out your top five. You can see 14 cars ended up on the lead lap. And we will cycle through. You see those three cars. Littleton, our points leader, coming into our tonight. Brian Snare, Lance Yancey, all caught up in a wreck on lap 1, our one and only Willis Landscaping Caution of the Night. Thanks to all our sponsors. Thanks for you tuning in tonight. It's been another exciting night of racing here with the Light Electric Company NextGen Series on Extreme eSpeed TV. I'm Travis Piercefield for my partner John Hine. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week from Martinsville.
This copyrighted broadcast of Extreme eSpeed TV Network is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without express written consent of the Extreme eSpeed TV Network is strictly prohibited. We hope you've enjoyed this broadcast.